It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So it wasn't a dream after all.
you're up. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. There. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. The good ship Merryweather. But you can stand at ease there, Private. You do realize you're not in any army here, don't you?
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good.
No marks. No indications of a struggle.
Oh, my, these smelling salts are
Good
strong stuff.
gods! There's been a murder here.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural. No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time with the others. Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwoken followed the source that did this.
Oh, my, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of,
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. I thought as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about... Yes, this is a rare kind of magic.
Sing us a song and I know you can.
Headquarters right away.
I forgot how to sing.
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this loser woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You presume right. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
Come on, please, Losa.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and examines your face, tugging at your ears and prodding your nose.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No. I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen... Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
My, we are fierce, aren't we? Not to worry. I'll soon remedy that. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
What are you trying to hear anyway?
Ah, music to my beleaguered stomach. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, goodness gracious me, what a bore.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
He opens both eyes and turns his head toward you, looking you up and down. He smiles and closes his eyes once more.
You look like a boy to me. Listen, if you're interested, or get gone if you aren't. The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
I've never dined on anything less than a dozen course dinner.
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums. But there's more. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for... Yes, Only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen
No indeed, boy. But that ain't my final destination.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
He continues stroking his beard.
You get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this trampython.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties.
Ifan performs an elaborate...
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out Ben Mist. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
Soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with him.
For me to listen.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mist. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
Soon as the Inquisitor...
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far?
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
Sorry you're upset, sir, but we all wear what we wear for a reason. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her.
By all means, do as the officer says. But you had better hurry, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
The hound paws desperately at its snout. It winces as it draws blood from its wet black nose and continues scratching. The dog notices you for the first time and snarls, the hairs on its back prickling as it lowers itself into a lunge.
You sorcerer!
It sneezes suddenly and paws at its nose once more.
Can't smell. Can't breathe. Too much sauce. Too much. Too much. Please, make it stop. Too much. Too much. I can't smell.
The dog whines.
Damn, that doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards! Thank the gods! By divine grace, what was...
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his blade.
Another sorcerer!
The Magister's companion doesn't blink, frozen in place at the sight of you.
Like you don't know? Mutiny! Did that witch fix your collar too?
He whispers loudly to the other Magister.
Don't just cower there, Rix! Take out your blade!
Rix grabs his sword, which shakes in the rhythm of his trembling hand. The Magisters look...
Your lies! Not long before this thing snaps into splinters! God damn it! Need to get off this wreck and quick! Something's pounding on the hull!
You pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid! No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the... Now, if you're really quite finished, please. I had a mast still. She'll drown with the rest of these fools. Indeed. Just a cent. I would...
The skeleton... The marking on the door, you press your palm. It doesn't, but the door...
Something's breaking through! What the hells are those things? Death fog! I need to get out of here! Now! Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's a ladder right over there.
You're gonna be the death of me.
As the dead man's flesh slides down your throat, you feel his consciousness enter yours. His memories are yours to experience. You are Finn. Your heart is heavy. You know too much. It's all too much. You met him. A bright light blinds you, then fades. You feel a tremendous power in your hands, but they are shaking so hard you can barely use them. Suddenly you're on this very ship, crouched in a corner, hugging your knees. A figure approaches, an older woman. Her eyes are kind. She comes closer. She says she wants to talk. She reaches a hand toward you. You grasp it. The memories end. You are no longer Finn. You return to yourself with a jolt.
If you could walk, get yourself up the ladder. There's a... Wait! Boys woken!
Was supposed to be scary.
I've faced worse.
They who are about to triumph.
Let the games begin.
These beardless bugs won't sink the ship on my watch.
Is about to burst.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. With jagged movements, she raises her clenched fist and holds out a length of cloth, soaked with some kind of strong-smelling tincture. Blood quickly soaks through the cloth. It's working. The pressure is stemming the flow of blood. Something within the ship snaps. The floorboards shudder. Siwan struggles to her feet, clinging to you tightly. The ship lets out a deep groan, then cracks.
It's ripping the ship apart.
This is it! She's going down!
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? This must be Fort Joy. I thought the Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King.
The child has a small mirror.
I'm not supposed to talk to elves. Well, elves eat people and their pets. Elves don't know the alphabet.
The child's eyes grow wide.
People ask you to eat them? Really? Neat. Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any sauce on you or me. Maybe you're right.
powers were supposed to keep those things at bay. Drowned and eaten by a Voidwoken. I wonder in which order.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
Yes, I imagine you do. You're made of sterner stuff than I first gave you credit for. Chances are I wouldn't have survived the shipwreck had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that. Now then, if there's nothing further... If you really must know, I haven't quite decided yet. I've a frightful amount of things on my mind, hence my standing here contemplating the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories. Quite so.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. and shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palace. What do you mean? What do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? Oh, may the Seven have mercy on their own creation. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the spouse of the Sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Truly. A kind offer indeed. Fine. For reasons I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Jolly good. So, now that that's said, even if you are as a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the do not take my elegance as a mask for frailty. My blows shatter shields, and my thrusts pierce armor. If a warrior you need, the warrior you'll have. I offered the perfection of the blade, and you seek the perfection of the blade. How fortuitous. Very well. Onwards, then, to victory or...
The Red Prince...
Now, as you're... Of course, there are other... A black cat. A herald of wisdom in my homeland. How fortuitous.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but it stares at you with acute intensity.
What? How did I get... Hey, stop following me. What? No, that can't be. I can't... Hey, stop following me. Huh? Yeah, fine. I'm fine. I'm not sure. It's all a little foggy.
The cat opens his mouth as if to speak, but his eyes lose focus, and with a jerk he turns away from you.
I've spotted something.
One must put in due effort if one is to reap the proper reward.
Here lies a nameless inmate. May he find the peace denied him in life in the Hall of Echoes.
I wonder where this leads.
As the alcove opens up, you see the same skeleton that you met on the boat before it sank. He's still not wearing his mask. He's leaning over a corpse, prodding and pulling at the skin of its face.
Bugger. How on earth am I supposed to...
Skeletal fingers reach down and grip the skin of the dead man's face, pulling sharply upwards. After a few more tugs at the man's cheeks, the skeleton relents, letting the head drop to the ground with a damp thud.
Damnation. That stuck fast. I wonder, does the beard act as some form of anchor? Ah! No! Stay back! Don't... Oh, it's you. I must admit I'm surprised. Perhaps you're more buoyant than I suspected. Oh, yes. An exceptionally common, but exceptionally valuable commodity. A face. A face that seems rather stubbornly attached to his skull. I would normally employ a tool to delicately but viciously rip the face from the body. I could then craft a mask to hide my bone. But as I lack such a tool...
The skeleton grabs the corpse by the cheeks and pulls hard, grunting in frustration as the body's skin holds firm.
Because my own was stolen from me. And the idea of being chased across Rivellon by every idiot with a torch does not appeal. Oh, get away! Monster! Hide the children! You are simple beasts. And you simply do not like my... well, not my kind, but those that look like me. So, if I am to traverse this land, I will need a mask to disguise my features. Oh, please. It is far too complicated. It requires more finesse than can be achieved by a rock tied to a stick, which I assume is your oeuvre. No, but once I have extracted the required material from this specimen, it will all be rather simple. And then I can return to finding my people. I cannot be the last Eternal, but the rest of them are somewhat absent. At least from this realm. As for the others, well, there is an excavation site. I suppose, circumstances being what they are, it could be advantageous. You seem more at ease in this. Excellent. While we are conversing, perhaps you notice that I am rather skilled in, well, all things. Of course, the arcane arts are my little speciality, but being a brilliant wizard does not mean I cannot handle blade or bow. So, which do you require for this enterprise of yours? Ah, you seek a more subtle approach. How surprisingly civilized. Very well. What do you require? If I had your mind, I'd rather wish I could change it too. But very well. Much magic? I was controlling the powers of the universe while your people were still... doing whatever it is you used to do. What speciality would you prefer? I could do that with one hand behind my spine. Splendid. Very well. Let's be off.
You hear a small whimpering sound from behind a basket. You peer behind it and find a small human child. The child quiets and seems comforted by your presence. She looks up at you with curious eyes. A wide grin cracks across the child's face through her tears, showing two big gaps where her front teeth should be. She laughs.
Really? Yeah. Warrior Princess Coral. You're nice. You can have this. I found it outside, but I can't read it yet. That's next year, and then I'll learn it.
The child wipes her eyes and, grinning, plunks herself down on the earthen ground. She starts tracing shapes, hearts, stars, and diamonds into the dirt.
Where is she? You go with us? Who are you? Are you from the shelter? She says nothing of another. Fear, alas! She is so late! A Magister offers to help us flee. A Tusa. She says there are many Magisters who do not agree with the Bishop. She says they bring us to safety. But Atusa is overdue. She promises to come at noon. We are afraid to stay, afraid to leave. She says there is a shelter in the marshes outside the fort. She says she brings us there first. She knows a safe path. We wait for a boat, and then we go. Wherever. We make a new home. Atusa is different. She does not believe in this place, in their bishop. She will come, and she will take us away from here.
They're transforming.
Prepare yourself.
Swallowed too much seawater by the looks of him.
Foolish to attempt an escape by sea in these waters.
Is it not enough that you travel with me? Must you go on then?
What's this? I found something.
I am not opposed to manual labor if circumstances require.
subverting our cause.
Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come!
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
She was a lizard, yet a magister. No matter her reason.
These creatures are so prone to violence. Naturally.
A single name throbs across your brain. Verdas, Verdas, Verdas! He must escape. He cannot die here. He cannot!
Did you see him? You did, right? Those claws. Wonder what's behind that, Magister. That was Bishop Alexander, leader of the Divine Order, and his right hand, Dallas. How do you not know this? Better get to it, then. A Magister will come and find you when they're ready for you. Could be a while, though. We're up to our hoods in sinners these days.
Did you see them, sir? Bishop Alexander and the Hammer herself, they were so close, almost within arm's reach.
traitor cannot be murdered. A traitor can only receive their due. Easy enough to say in times of peace, but look around. We're standing on the edge of the end. The Void Woken are coming, sir. And it's only the Divine Order that can protect us.
A fella can't hear himself think with all this racket. Day and night she hollers after that child. You hear that, Farah? You gotta cut that out. What's happened to you? Known her all my life. Her little girl Irma, too. Farah was a straight-shooting woman in those days. But now she's madder than a cuckoo and twice as loud. Distraught don't even begin to cover it. She's hollering after that child of hers. Killed by a Void Woken, she was. Been dead and buried for a month now. Never even stepped foot in Fort Joy. And there ain't no amount of hollering that'll bring her back.
Is it not enough that you travel with me? Must you speak? Go on, then.
Please, please, you must help me. No one here will help me. Not one of these bastards. A child is missing. My baby, she was here. I only turned away for a moment. I'm sick with worry. Completely sick. And no one in this damn camp will lift a finger to help me find her. Yes, of course. Here, you should take it with you. When you find her, give her the doll and tell her, Mummy says this is for her little chicken, and it's time to come home. That's what I call her, my little chicken.
She soaks up a steady stream of tears with her shirt sleeve.
She ought to come with you then. She ought to. You are an angel. Irma! Irma!
I told him at noon exactly.
I don't think I ain't watching. That's your 5th blue jester this round.
What of it? Yeah, what of it?
If you don't like the game, Topsy, you can fold.
No. Just because the pair of you are filthy cheating liars don't mean I can't beat you.
A little respect for Griff's right hand, Topsy girl.
Right hand, my winker. Fella's got more right hands than an octopus.
Looky here, mates. A fresh face. We love fresh faces. Why don't you join? No problem, Freshie. In that case, enjoy your stay. But I'll be needing to collect your interment fee first, of course. I'm sure the Reds told you. No one gets along without paying the interment fee. So, let's make this easy. Empty your pockets.
Yeah, what of it?
Grab it in your cobblers, the both of you.
If you don't like the game, Topsy, you can fold.
No. Just because the pair of you are filthy cheating liars don't mean I can't beat you.
A little respect for Griff's right hand, Topsy.
Right hand.
Horrible surround.
Looky here, man. Why don't you join us in a round of cards? First hands on the house. No problem, Freshie. In that case, I'm sure the Reds told you, no one gets along without paying the interment fee. So, let's make this easy. Empty your pockets. With pleasure.
old man. I can't wait all day. man. I can't wait all day.
Lest the void overtake and devour us all.
Mummy's right here. Where are you?
You there? Elf? I'm looking for an inmate. A smallish man, thick spectacles, prone to somewhat eccentric chatter. He wears a large bronze pendant with a dragon stamped into it. Have you seen him? Useless. It is a very important matter that I locate this Migo. Tell me if you hear mention of him. He hasn't changed a bit. Always late. I told him at noon.
I'm not mad, darling. I'm not mad. Sweetheart?
You there. You've just arrived, isn't that right? Are you quite alone? It's just, I've a proposition. Something very worth knowing. But it's hardly a group affair. I only need one. In that case, listen up. You must think me mad to approach a stranger, but this camp is full of cowards and I'm running out of time. Fast. Too fast. Way too fast. I've been here a long time. Longer than anyone else. People get taken sometimes. Some folks say they get cured. I don't know if I believe it, and I don't want to wait and find out. I have a way out of here. It won't be easy, and I need a partner. Just one. Are you interested? Attaboy. Who wouldn't? Finally, someone with a little... The plan's simple. Completely foolproof. I have a spell that I can use to teleport you right out of here. I can't use it on myself, but with your help, we can both get out of here.
There's an artifact that you can use to teleport me out of this place. Then I can use my spell to free you in turn. This item, though, it's in quite an unfortunate location. And how many would make it before the guards noticed? 4? 5? Every bloody sorcerer in this place? Nah, they'd have to take their own chances. I need one accomplice, no more. It's found its way into a nest of crocodilians on a secluded beach nearby. Here, give me a map and I'll show you where to go. I'm glad you're of such a mind. I never was one for gore myself, but never mind. I've got the plan and you've got the brawn. Get that artifact, and you and I are as good as free. Go give those overgrown lizards what for.
It's too tight.
When another divine arises, will source change back? What if there are no sorcerers? Yet so quickly, we find Source so dangerous. What in his death caused it? So Voidwoken are attracted to Source. But why? When another divine arises, will Source change back?